Hello everyone, and welcome to this year's Future Digital Twin event. My name is Shane McArdle and I head the Digital Energy Division in Kongsberg Digital. We are an industrial software company that help our customers reimagine how they work through the use of a digital twin. It is fantastic and rather apt to bring our digital twin community together this year through a virtualized event. Clearly, the times we are living in are challenging and don't allow us to meet each other and share ideas in person, as we are used to. But the power of digital has enabled this event, thus allowing us to collaborate and interact with each other, albeit remotely, over the next 2 exciting days. Future Digital has organised an incredible lineup of operators, suppliers, technology companies, startups and digital experts that will offer their insight and guidance in how to incorporate a digital twin, ensuring best practice throughout the product lifecycle. The event also examines how a company creates a digital twin identity, the behaviours required in exploring innovation and implementing a collaborative and productive working culture. Stories will be shared about the value outtake and how to get started. We really hope to address what a digital twin means for our industry today and tomorrow, and the impact of this technology in the future. So the digital twin terminology has been around a while. It was first proposed by Professor Greaves from the University of Michigan in 2003. But the concept was used by NASA decades before that. In NASA, they built full-scale mock-ups of early space capsules, used on the ground to mirror and diagnose problems in orbit. And eventually, this gave way to full digital representation of their space vessels. Digitalization is a true enabler for improvement and change. This year, our advisory committee aimed to intrigue and inspire those people wanting to deepen their understanding of a digital twin, such as those just starting out on their journey, and also to positively challenge those people and organizations already familiar with the concept to continue to innovate around what a digital twin means. Where do we see the impact of digital twin today, and what are our intentions to leverage the digital twins in order to navigate a very fast changing future? These are the areas we want to address over the next 2 days. For Kongsberg, we see 4 main pillars playing a prominent role in digital twin today and in the future. Those pillars are digitalization, scalability, collaboration and decarbonation. So one of the biggest challenges we find is to try and define what does a digital twin mean. And there are many terminologies out there and people are always trying to put it in a box. We feel this is wrong. Digital twins are constantly evolving. The nature of digitalization is change. Tech will always advance. It's not just a trend. It will evolve. A digital twin from 4 years ago is not the same today. Digital twin technology has moved beyond just the visualization and into the merging worlds of IoT, artificial intelligence, simulation and data analytics. Here in Kongsberg, we define CogniTwin as a virtual representation of your physical reality and its dynamic behavior, reflecting the status of the equipment, your asset or fleets in real time. But industrial data is complicated and no process is stagnant. It is transient and in constant change, and we need an industrial work surface that has the flexibility to provide that unified view into your data and operations. CogniTwin provides that understanding of your industrial assets, representing all of your connected objects in a facility to give a more complete view of the data and operations. The digital twin enables frontline operators, engineers and remote vendors to become fully integrated with data and work processes, transforming and optimizing the operations and maintenance philosophy of the asset. Engineers, operators, partners and people all along the full supply chain can access the digital twin via iPads, iPhones, laptops, VR, wearable devices, both in the plant and remotely for improved collaboration and business transformation. And it's not just limited to the full supply chain, it also follows the life cycle of your asset. So it covers greenfield and capital expenditure projects all the way up to your brownfield and modification projects. In the past year, during the pandemic, business continuity has dominated the agenda, and digital twin played an important role here. Most assets aren't in close proximity of each other, and just having all of this data available help businesses not only better understand how they are operating, but also remotely monitor and improve through the use of data analytics, simulation, VR, AR, and digitalized workflows to ensure that continuity. Companies who are digitally ready have thrived over the last year. As we look to the future and extrapolate on our learnings, we are pushing the envelope of digital twins, setting ambitious targets for self-optimizing operations. But we must remember, at its core, a digital twin is an integrator connecting everything we do. It should not be a monolith. It synergizes with multiple technologies to focus on what the business needs. The roles of operations are elevated to full monitoring and optimizing the overall business to run it in an efficient and intelligent way. Your digital strategy should be value-driven, predicted on finding new and better solutions to drive improved business outcomes. It should offer new insights that can be leveraged to further improve productivity, reliability, sustainability, and the overall performance of your facility. We no longer see digital twins as a nice to have. It is a must to have in order to keep competitive. Scalability. How do we take out value at scale? Based on market analysis, less than 10% of one-off projects are operationalized. So moving from that proof of concept to proof of scale is a large problem. Part of the reason for this are data science projects that provide insights but are not built to scale and are not linked to the bigger business strategy. To the best of our knowledge, there are no complete digital twins of an entire operator's assets today. But some have started, and these fast movers will really benefit from being first. Today, most operators have a challenge with their data. They don't have access to the data, systems don't communicate or don't connect, and data trapped in silos is not really a ground for a success story. Enterprise-wide analytics, how are you going to achieve this? As our industry embraces this disruptive technology, it is imperative that we link the digital twin to a tangible, scalable business case to ensure long-term adoption and sustainability of the technology. We have built CogniTwin to be open, data-driven and scalable, leveraging the power of elastic cloud services. Having seamless access to all of the relevant data across the organization nurtures collaboration and innovation at scale. Digital twins enrich your understanding. It transforms data into accessible human-like intelligence, acting as a foundation for smart and intelligent decisions. People start to connect apps to their core data systems, digitalizing workflows and changing how we work as an industry. You will hear a lot about use cases over the next 2 days, and I'm here to tell you that there's no one silver bullet. It is really about the cumulative effect of lots of use cases that add up to value. And they require data from your OT, operational technology, and IT, information technology systems, in order to operationalize the use cases and roll out across your organization at scale. The role of a digital twin in this perspective is to be an enabler for multiple use cases. You can set goals for performance and costs such as smart maintenance, uptime of equipment, potential failures, production and energy optimization, overuse of chemicals, energy usage, nominations, emissions reduction. You can set all of these targets inside a digital twin environment and framework. And this helps you to understand and make things more transparent. All of these targets can be monitored, can be analysed, predicted, and actions can then be taken to address them within a twin. We often say movement brings clarity. As you progress, the picture just becomes much clearer, but you need to act and act at scale to take out the most value. Collaboration. Collaboration starts at the top and should be part of any strategic executive roadmap. It is not a good idea to marginalize digitalization. It is an effort for the entire organization at large. Software is an enabler for business objectives, but ultimately leadership and alignment with digital twin partners will help you succeed with your respective digital transformation process. To prepare for the technology revolution, you must be ready to collaborate with your technology partners. Operators fundamentally understand their challenges and have a lot of domain experience with their assets. Combining this with the industrial software and domain experience that partners can bring helps you to innovate and deploy integrated solutions that much faster. Technology and industrial software companies must also take an open position, willing to collaborate with multiple partners. We have taken a very strong position on this to be open and collaborative, and a simple but essential first step to this is to have a unified API strategy. So it's easy to integrate into existing IT landscapes and be future-proofed for other collaboration that you may want to have. Internally, organizations must embrace transformation and innovation as the only way forward. You need to mobilize the entire organization, and there will be people afraid of being substituted by machines and alienized because they are not included in the digital journey. Better alignment with workers' interests and pains will help to smooth the way for adoption. Digital twins need to be designed with users' needs in mind, together with the frontline workers. We have seen tremendous success in adoption of the digital twin across disciplines with people of very different digital competencies because it has just made their day-to-day job better and they were part of it. Through collaboration, we believe we are able to embed a twin in all main tasks and business objectives, building strong digital competencies in your workforce, powering augmented operations and improving the industry as a whole. We need to collaborate to take action now. Decarbonisation. The energy sector is under tremendous pressure to operate in a more efficient and cost-effective, sustainable and lower cost manner. Digital in general and digital twins in particular are one of the critical paths to get there. How can the industry deliver on their commitments and pledges? This is a big challenge. Society expects this green shift, which requires a significant reduction in the carbon footprint for future generations. I believe that the problem needs to be addressed by the industry itself. The problem needs to be elevated up and across the organisation and made transparent, and digital twins can be the vehicle to do that. But we must first understand that data and access to data does not remove emissions. But having access to the data, being able to innovate and take action based on insights you didn't have before, using advanced analytics to optimize energy or chemical usage, and even curbing the behaviour of every employee by linking their tasks to the carbon footprint of an operating facility, does reduce emissions. All of these workflows and dashboards are available in digital twins today, and cumulatively they have an impact on reducing emissions. As our industry buys into the vision and digital twins become the norm, I hope through the learnings and insights you gain during this event, it will allow you to embrace the change with confidence and inspire you to take action today. I look forward to interesting sessions and encourage you all to engage in peer-to-peer discussions over the next couple of days. And I am confident no matter where you are in your journey with digital twins, you will learn something that will help you accelerate on your transformation.
That was brilliant, Shane, and many thanks for the really well put together presentation, which I really enjoyed watching because you broke it down beautifully, actually. Many thanks also for being part of the future Digital Twin Advisory Committee. So your thoughts and input on the event has been really well noted. So many thanks for this. I like the 4 areas you were in. So digitalization, scalability, collaboration, decarbonisation. I wonder how many times we're going to hear those words over the next couple of days, because I have a feeling it's not going to be the last time we hear it. 2 things you did mention, which I loved. I like the fact that you said a digital twin will evolve, because a lot of people have this preconception it's going to be the same, and that's what it is. But it will evolve with technology, and that's a really, really interesting point you made, because I think a lot of people probably have a very static view of what this technology is. And I really like the secondary part of what you said about movement brings clarity on how we need to keep on moving and building and learning for what we're doing as well. So digital twins, obviously they've evolved in the last few years. They are becoming a permanent fixture with a lot of operators, especially with the oil and gas industry. What has been, from your opinion, Shane, the biggest changes that you've observed up to now on this area?
First of all, thanks, Adam, and it's been a real pleasure to be part of the advisory committee this year. I mean, really, really insightful insight coming from the industry experts here. Digital twin, it's 4 years ago, you can't compare what a digital twin was being defined as 4 or 5 years ago. And that's not long ago. But in the, let's say, the context of digitalization, it is long ago because it moves so fast. So for me, I would say what a digital twin was defined as some years ago and today, that's where the biggest shift and change has happened. It's no longer a tool for incremental improvement. It's no longer a tool to empower a subset of engineers. It's a transformative technology. People are looking at this, and I think it was Lee who mentioned it's a centerpiece of an asset. They're looking at this to drive their data foundation, to have your data pipelines put into it. It looks as a tool where you can put or redefine your business processes as workflows and then digitalize them. People look at it as a enabler or a vehicle for taking the use cases they've been grooming for all these years. And there's no lack of use cases in the business, right? Everyone has a use case, in fact, but it's how you operationalize them. And I think people now are recognizing Twin as that tool, as that vehicle for operationalizing and scaling them at pace. So it's great to plug in there, get your data foundation very, very quickly. I think I can't remember. Stefan maybe mentioned that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be good enough to get started. And that moves back then to the movement part. A twin moves you forward very quickly. It's the iterative process, the agile approach moves you forward very quickly. If your technology is built to identify mismatches in the data, that's great because you can just plug in the data straight away, regardless of the, let's say, maturity of it. And you can quickly identify the mismatches or the areas where there's gaps, and then use that to kickstart your whole program. The other side of it is very much, people talked a lot about, took a platform position some years ago, right? Everyone was talking about there's still an important role for platforms, especially data platforms. But when it comes to scale, data platforms are a big project. It's a big initiative, whereas the digital twin can be much, much faster, and it needs to be flexible. And this comes back to the interoperability. So you can't build this stagnant technology. You can't build something that just is very focused on narrow use cases. It has to be flexible. So I think that has evolved in thinking as well. And APIs play a big role here as well. And that's linked to the openness of any digital technology you want to bring to the forefront today. It has to be open, it has to be flexible, it has to provide this interoperability. So last couple of years, it's moved from small incremental improvements to this transformative technology. I think that's the biggest change.
It's an interesting point you made, because I mentioned it before your presentation about what Stefan mentioned. It was Stefan from Shell, and he was talking about don't rely on your data being a finished product before you implement this, because as long as it's good and it's in order, then this will help it get to that level. And that was really that has stuck with me, actually. So because I think there's really is a misconception that you've got to get your data absolutely perfect, which in an industry with so much data, I think it's got to be taking forever for people to implement it. So yeah, I mean it's a very good point. Can I ask you, because obviously you mentioned I think point 2 or point 3 point 4 about decarbonisation. How do you see digital twin contribute to sustainable operations? Because that's obviously a very regularly talked about theme now. So what's your take on this, Shane?
No, it's a big part of it. I mean, the green shift. There's massive pledges being made. Very, very, let's say, very committed industry partners and operators to driving this green shift. But just making a commitment, you need to act. You need to take action. You need to get down into some of the details. And what is the vehicle for driving that change? And nearly everyone this morning, and it was a great panel, by the way, talked about digitalization being central to this change. Yeah. So digital twin, as a centerpiece of an asset, can drive the processes around decarbonization. And I mentioned just in the last part of my speech there was, once you have an overview of your asset, and I'll give you a simple example. Today, greenhouse gases, right? There's no global industry standard for measuring it, right? There's recommended methodologies, there's guidelines, but how do you compare? How do you benchmark your assets? How do you have a transparent window into what your carbon footprint? Because that's just an equivalent calculation from your GHG, or greenhouse gases. So the twin, what that can enable is you can aggregate all this information. You can visualize it. You can build dashboards. You can put it into the hands of everyone. And we talked about curbing behavior. If you don't see, or you're not connected to your actions, your day-to-day actions, to the carbon footprint of a facility, you don't really, you just think about what you have to do. You don't really think about your behavior having a significant impact. So what we're doing is we're
Mm.
providing the insight for several assets now, where they can see, hey, if I ramp up my pressure here in a compression train, oh, actually, this has a significant impact on what we're doing. Do I need to do that? So you start to second guess, or at least take another opportunity to look at what you need to do, and link sustainability to the profitability. They go hand in hand. So we've been working a lot with energy optimization, and that energy optimization, that energy optimization, for example, there's one facility where they use about a daily average 200 megawatts of energy due to compression. If we can reduce that by 1 to 1.5%, you're looking
Yeah.
at enough power to power 2,500 homes per day. So if you just think
Oh
about that, if you
God.
just think about
Yeah.
1.5%, it's huge. You know, if energy used for your reactions in the downstream part of it, you can optimize that. 85% of your CO2 footprint comes from the energy in the downstream part. So it's a massive. So we're building a lot of tools, a lot of applications. We're trying to leverage AI, to really focus in on these business-driven use cases. Once you have a digital twin standing up, so it's going to be the vehicle to take all of your technology you've been working with, your interesting technology, your drones, your VR, AR, and you just connect them to the twin, and there you can start to innovate quickly and drive it towards these sustainable operations. Finally, we talk a lot about these greenfield assets being built to be clean, or reduced emissions, but predominantly we have a lot of brownfield assets still in the business. And we talk
Mm.
about a low carbon footprint asset is a stable asset. So twins that can focus on the optimization of your whole facility, keep it stable, reduce emissions, leakages during turnarounds, etc. That really helps drive the sustainable footprint for a lot of these brownfield facilities. It's the cumulative effect, Adam. As I said, there's no
Yeah.
silver bullet. It's all the little things that add up to helping out.
It's a sum of the parts. There's a lot of different components involved. It's a very good analysis of how that will contribute, because I think when I first started linking decarbonisation with technology or digital twin, people were like, "Oh, how does that work?" That doesn't make any sense. And I think now we're trying to educate, I think, everyone, me included, on actually how it does do that. So I think that's pretty much hitting the nail on the head, what you said there as well. One final question, because we're going to go into our break in about a couple of minutes, but I do want to ask you this. We talk about how good digital twin is and how brilliant it is, and I love it. I think it's a great technology. But I think we should all be made aware of restrictions and also any problems it will encounter over the next few years. Now, whether it's to do with technology, environment, or how companies will evolve, what do you see will be the main issues that the technology will have over the coming years for people who have a digital twin?
Yeah, I think there's seven, or I suppose there's seven ways of looking at this. But interoperability is one of the big ones. The openness, right? If you don't
Yeah.
future-proof your technology to be open, I think you're just going to fade away, right? So you have to take this position.
Mm.
So many people talked about it today in the panel about collaboration. But if you're going to collaborate as organizations, that sometimes that can be harder, but because there's people. But technology, you have to build it to be open, and that's a position we've taken
Mm.
from day one. Data-driven, open, etc. So I think that's a big part of it. The other element to this, obviously, is the cybersecurity element.
Yeah.
If you're creating a solid data foundation, if you're centralizing a lot of your business processes in there, obviously this can be a target from a cybersecurity point of view. So really having that relentless focus on the cybersecurity element is going to be a big challenge, and there's ways to handle this. I mean, we've worked with this for many years. You can borrow from the defense industry. I think it was Len, he mentioned about cross pollination from different industries.
Yeah.
That's something we can take a learning from, because they are using cloud services, and very public cloud services as well, not just private, but they have a very solid and robust cybersecurity component around us. So learning from there, taking it into more civilian operations, that's what we're going to have to do going forward.
That was fantastic. Shane, thank you very much for that. Just to touch on a couple of points you said there, we've obviously got